there. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Thomas. Morning Has Broken was originally a 1930 hymn, and it was made into a hit by Cat Stevens. The song is a bit long, and it goes through a series of verses and instrumental interludes and changes keys several times along the way. It's a good song to practice your chord changes and changing keys. Let's start with that instrumental introduction. Now, let's knock out that strum pattern because it's very simple. You're just going to do down, down, up, down, up. It's considered in 3/4 time. It has 3 pulses. Down is 1, down, up is 2N, and down, up is 3N. So it'd be 1, 2, and 3N. Down, down, up, down, up. Now, let's go through the chords. We'll start off with a D, then we'll go to a G, an A, any G you want, by the way. And the same with A. Don't worry about how I'm fingering it. Do the one that's comfortable for you. And then to an F sharp. I'm barring that across the 2nd fret, F sharp major. And then it goes to B minor, which I just switch everything over 1 string, or I should say higher because it's going towards the high string. Let's go ahead and play through those chords. And play along with me. You'll get more out of it if you even just attempt it. So the D, G, A, going to F sharp now, B minor, and the next set of chords starts with a G7 to a C chord. Now we're going to an F with a C in the bass. So I'm not going to make a full bar F. I'm just going to put my fingers down, make the F chord with my fingers, and partial bar the top 2 strings. That puts that C right there in the bass. And then back to C. And that's where the words start right there. Let's do that much, starting with the G7. Strum to C, F, and C. Morning has something like that. By the way, when I make my F chord, I don't let that 6th string sound. The way I do that is my 3rd finger right there is actually slightly touching the 6th string, so it deadens it out. Don't worry about that, but it's just a little tip you might want to try. Let's play that entire introduction, starting from the D chord. 1, ready, go. D, G, A, F sharp, going to B minor, G7, C, F with a C, and C. Now we're off to the first verse. I want to give you a little tip before we start playing the chords. When you first start singing the words morning has, that comes in just before you start strumming the first chord. And you can get the notes from the C chord. Play the 5th string, 3rd fret, morn, then the 2nd fret, and then the open 3rd string. So it sounds like this. Morning has brewed, and so on. So let's start with the first set of chords. Go ahead and play along with me. You'll see it makes more sense even if you're fumbling through it. Start with a C chord, to a D minor, G, and here comes that F with a C in the bass again, and back to C. Let's try that much. Morning has brewed, D minor, G, to the F with a C, and C. Now, the next set of chords starts with the C again. So it's going to be C, E minor, A minor, D7, and then 2 Gs, meaning a strum for each of the Gs. So altogether it'll be and then 2 Gs. Try that with me once. Blackbird has spoken like the first G, and again. Now, the third set of chords starts with a C again. Go into that F with a C, and then another one of those. C, A minor, to D. So try that with me. Start with a C. Go. C, F with the C in the bass. Again, to C, A minor, and D. And the last set of chords starts with a G, going to a C, the F with the C in the bass, G, and then to C again. And that last C is actually the first chord of the next instrumental portion. Let's try that portion together. I'll call out the chords. So start with the G chord. 1, 2, and go. G, C, F with the C in the bass, G, and go ahead and play that last C. And that's where the piano would play on the recording. Now let's go ahead and try the whole verse one time through. I'm not going to stop, but I will call out some of the chords as we go, and I'll go slow. Start with the C chord. Get ready. Here we go. We're doing this together. And we're going to start, by the way, with the words morning as, and then strum, okay? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Morning has broken. D minor, going to G, to the F with the C, to C, again, C, E minor, A minor, D7, D7 to G, 2 times. Going to C now, D, D, F, and 2 Fs. Back to C, D, D, A minor to D, G, D, C, going to F, G, and here goes the instrumental section. Good, you're doing great. Now for the instrumental interlude, this I'll call number 1. We'll call that first one the intro, and this will be the interlude number 1. So you're going to start seeing some of the same patterns. We're going to start this with a C chord. Now go to that F chord, to the G. Now we're going to E major. That's the first time we've had that in the song. Let's do that much together. We'll start on the C chord. Here we go. 1, ready, play. C, F, G, and E major. Now for the 4 next chords, and this will be the entire interlude, we'll start with A minor, G7, C, and G7. The pattern looks familiar, doesn't it? Okay, let's play that much. Starting with A minor. Go, A minor. 1, going to G7. C, and G7. And we come into the verse number 2. So let's play that whole introduction before we go on to the second verse. Here we go. Start with a C chord. 1, ready, play. F, G, E, A minor, G7, C, and finally G7 now. Okay, we're ready for verse number 2. And guess what? Verse number 2 is exactly the same as verse number 1. So I'm not going to go through it again, but we will play it once through. Let's start with the C chord. And just like the first verse, the words sweet the rain come in before you start strumming. So we'll start there. 1, ready, start. Sweet the rain's new, going to D minor. Sunlit from F to C, like the first E minor, to fall, D7 to G, another G, C, praise for the F, again, of the wet A minor to D, going to G, sprung in, come C, F to G, his feet C, and that that C is the first C of the next interlude. Interlude number 2. Now this one's particularly interesting because it actually changes the key of the song from C into the key of D. And it does it in a way that's really cool, I think. Let's go through the chords. We'll start with a C chord. Play along. That F with the C in the bass. Looking normal so far. G, right? Same pattern as before. Now to that E chord, we did this. To the A minor. And then to an F sharp. And that's where the change starts happening. Let's stop there and get those down. Now, this is a bar F sharp, and quite frankly, I think that's what really works here. But if you want to do a partial bar, you can do something like this if you're not ready for bar chords. This is a good song to practice your bar chords if you're just starting to work on them. Start with a C chord. 1, ready, hit it. C, 1, going to F, G, now the E major coming now, A minor, and to the F sharp. Now you might just want to practice that change a little extra over everything else. From A minor going to the F sharp. Because that's often where people get hung up. And you just practice it. Isolate it, practice it, and then put it into the rest of the progression. Now here's the next series of chords. We go from that F sharp to a B minor, and that's an easy change. Once you got the F sharp, you just move your fingers, not the first finger, but all the other ones, over one string to the high E string, towards the high E rather. So that makes a B minor chord. F sharp, B minor. F sharp, I'm starting on the 5th string. B minor, first note's on the 4th string. Then we go to a G chord. Again, any G. You'll see me play a few different Gs as we go along. I tend to play a chord depending on where I'm going and where I'm coming from. But in your case, do what you're comfortable with. Next comes a D chord. A7. That's a nice easy change, huh? To D. That's often one of the first changes people learn. Okay, let's play that section. We'll start with the B minor. And I know we're normally going to come from the F and go to the B minor, but let's just start with the B minor. Form the chord, and I'll count. 1, ready, hit it. B minor, G, to D, A7, nice easy change, and D. And that goes on to the next verse. Let's play that whole interlude one time through it, and we'll start with which chord? C, yes, you got it. Here we go. 1, ready, hit it. F, G, E, A minor, to F, keep going, B minor, to G, D, A7, that's the key of D now, D. The D to A7 to D is a 1-5-1, establishes the key of D. On to verse number 3. Now we're in the key of D. And the first chords are going to start with a D chord. Yes. Here we go. I'll call out the chords. Just try them with me, and then we'll play it together. Here's the first group of chords, starting with a D, to an E minor, A, to G, and then 2 Ds. Okay, let's play through that progression, but before we do, we have that same kind of pickup that we did before. Remember with C it was do, do, do. But now in the key of D, different notes. We'll start with the open D chord, the 4th fret on the 4th string, and then on the 3rd string, 2nd fret. Those are the 3 notes we start with. So it's da, 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 and then start strumming on the D. So let's do that. Start right here, open D chord, that's the first note, and of course you can sing that. Da, 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 to D, E minor, going to A, do, do, G, to D, another D, D. On to the next set of chords, starting with an F sharp minor. New chord, but just like the F sharp, only without the 2nd finger, F sharp minor. Then to B minor, again, another easy change, because you move everything over and put that 2nd finger back down. Then to an E major, and then 2 A's. Let's try that together. Nice and slow, starting with the F sharp minor. Form the chord, best you can. 1, ready, go. F sharp minor to B minor, E, A, and one more A. On to the next set of chords. We're starting with a D now, going on to a G chord, another G, back to D, B minor, and an E major. Let's try that, and I'll call out the chord, starting with your D chord. 1, ready, start. D, going to G now. Another G, back to D, B minor, and E major. And that leads us to the last set of chords. It goes on to A, play it with me. Just strum one time. D, G, A7. Right, we're staying in the key of D. Let's do it. Starting with your A chord. 1, ready, hit it. A, D, G, A7, and to D. Okay, let's play through that section together. We're going to start with that pickup. Mine is the, and then we start strumming on D. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Mine is the D, son. E minor, A to G, and to D. Born of the F sharp minor to B minor by E, E, then saw A. We got 2 A's here. Go to D, praise with E, G. Back to D now, D, B minor to E. Going to A to D, G, A7, and back to D. And at this point, we come back to another instrumental interlude that gets us back to the key of C. I'll quickly go through it, but you'll realize you've done this before. It's starting to repeat now. Start with your G chord. Hit it. Go to A chord. F sharp. To B minor. We'll keep going on. G7. To C. Here it's going back to C. F and C. Let's strum it one time through, and I'll call out the chord, starting with your G chord. 1, ready, play. To the A, F sharp, B minor, G7, C chord, F chord, and C. And then it goes to the first verse again. Morning has, and I'll stop there. Because from this point on, everything just repeats. It repeats that first verse, the same chords, same lyrics, and it'll do an outro, which is exactly the same as the interlude number 2. So, with some practice now, you are home free. That's it for this lesson. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed it, I'd appreciate a comment. I'd love to hear from you. And if you're not making the kind of progress you'd like to make on the acoustic guitar, I can help. Click the link in the description below or visit my website directly, realguitarsuccess.com. You'll be surprised at how much quicker you can be playing the kind of music you want to play. Bye for now.